Dear folks of Baba, one of you made a suggestion as a topic for discussion, the feeling of unworthiness, which we have touched on previously. It is very elusive because it is not only a debilitating emotion, but also a self-deprecating attitude facing many Baba lovers in their lives with him. To disentangle the emotion connected with unworthiness from the negative attitude toward ourself is a part of the solution. Many have inherited, in passing through childhood, a feeling of unworthiness that can come from a variety of sources: parents, siblings, their peer group, and teachers. And also, they may have brought it in with them from their previous lives. Understandably, the negative influence of this can often affect our relationship with Baba. That is, we can even feel unworthy in front of Baba, which is the last thing he wants us to feel.
Around reading books.
Unlike many people in our lives who love us with strings attached, Baba loves us unconditionally. Even Darwin Shaw, when he met Baba for the first time, was unprepared for the experience of Baba's unconditional love. It is rarely ever seen in this world. One of the most insidious contributors to unworthiness is our mental ideals that we have bought into, which are set too high for what we are capable of achieving. We wind up always falling short, and sadly, the people in our life often remind us of that. One thing I learned from the Mandali is that our ideals should be practical. What is the next baby step we can take, not the impossible achievement of the highest? We don't learn to play the piano in 1 week. The ego has a way of colluding with the mind to guilt trip us when we fall short of our mental ideals. On the other hand, the ideals formed in the heart are much more compassionate, not so black and white. The heart knows just what we are capable of in the present, our next step. In fact, the ego is fighting a battle for the supremacy of our attention, and it is a victory for it when the ego can get us thinking negatively about ourselves instead of remembering Baba and others with love. The ego can also hide in feeling superior to those who have a healthy attitude towards themselves, seeing their attitude as naive and an expression of the ego. Or the ego can hide out in envy of others rather than having a positive appreciation of the valuable qualities they express. We are a mixture of love and selfishness, and to express that we will always be loving. And to expect that we will always be loving is to expect the impossible. Inevitably, we are going to have to witness ourselves being selfish sometimes and learn to forgive ourselves from the heart and not to let the mind find fault with and demean us. That is, we need to listen to the compassionate voice of the heart, not to the critical voice of the mind. Someone might say, can't this lead us to being complacent? Yes, and that is something to be aware of, but not to the extent that we pressure ourselves into striving for something that is beyond our capacity. And if we become complacent, it is Baba's job to see that we grow and awaken. He won't let us rest on our oars for too long. I know this is an enormous subject, and these are only some of the aspects of unworthiness. How much has the feeling of unworthiness been a part of your life? What triggers this feeling in you? What are some of the ways you have found to respond to this feeling of unworthiness? Was unworthiness something you experienced much more in your early years with Baba, and now you are more accepting of your shortcomings? This was one of Mara's favorite quotes of Baba's. Seeds germinate in soft soil. I plant my seed of love, not in your strengths, but your weaknesses. Humility can be greater than strength. In his love, Jeff.
Thank you, Erich. Anybody feel worthy enough or unworthy enough to venture out? You know, I know that people have been with Baba for a long time. A lot of the unworthiness has been kind of worked through. But in the earlier years, I know for myself, I had to experience that a good bit. But then I'll check in at some later point. But anybody feel like venturing forth?
Oh, we'll
Ah,
start with
Sharon.
Sharon.
Yeah,
Hello, Jay Baba.
yeah.
I had a incident happen just a few days ago. In fact, just after Silence Day. So I work with a body worker, Jin Shinjitsu practitioner, and she gave me a flow. I said I wanted a PTSD elimination flow, and I started looking at the hard copy, and I didn't like the word, so I said, "Can I just call it a calming flow?" She said, "Sure." You said PTSD, but it's used for other things. So that's happened. I had a friend who's a born again Christian kind of go on a little bit of a self satisfying binge about how her way was the right way. And all the avatars were cool except nothing beyond Jesus. And I realized I didn't call her or say I was upset, but I felt it was a gift from Baba, and I was exploring how it came about so soon after the day after Silence Day. And I did something, well, I didn't do it, but you may have heard of the tapping out of negative emotions with the emotional freedom technique. It's very available and free online. So I just referenced in my mind that when I was 5 or 6 years old, one side of my birth family was criticizing the other. And I also saw a post on Facebook, love your family, even if they've hurt you, because they brought you into this world. And I thought that'll kind of shook me up a bit, but I just realized that part of why I was sometimes upset when someone has a different opinion than me is because of that. I took it in as a child that I was being criticized when one side of the family was really criticizing the other in front of me. And I kind of felt liberated, and as a gift from Baba that this person was self-righteous about her born again Christian faith. And I kind of actually invite people to give their different opinions about religion and politics. I don't try to keep it quiet, but then it's difficult when I feel like so the breakthrough is I realized I'm not being personally attacked or persecuted when someone says something vehemently. It's their belief system. So it's a breakthrough for me that I don't have to take that on. I felt I was being liberated from some sort of childhood trauma or traumatic experiences with the backbiting between my two sides of my birth family. So thank you, Jay
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah. No, it goes way back, and we get to work on it even now at our advanced age. Work on these. Bob keeps at it.
All right, we're
Yeah,
going to go to Jake.
Hey, I don't have too much to share, but I wanted to just speak on just a little bit more about the unworthiness that I've felt in my life, and just another layer that I've uncovered. And it's that I have felt I need to be saintly in order to be worthy to be close to Baba. And this is coming from a long span of my life in my younger years, where I was not such a nice person. Very mean to people, stole things from people, did drugs, all that kind of stuff that made me feel anything but saintly, I guess. But I realized that I've been carrying around that same sense with me now into my 40s, where I still feel, in order for me to feel worthy to be close with Baba, that I have to be saintly. And it misses one of the things that I'm recognizing and playing around with now is trying to let go of that expectation of myself, and spend more time, embracing and being with the parts of myself that might not seem so saintly, the lower parts of myself. And I have to say, I'm quite enjoying playing around with those other parts of myself in a way that I wouldn't have been free or felt free to do so previously. So I'm sure there's more to be for me to see and understand about this, and I'll keep you posted on what I find. But there's some real nice freedom that I've been experiencing around that sense of having to be saintly, to be close to Baba.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of, I think of, I found like self-acceptance was closer to Baba in me than self-improvement. Self-improvement just kind of is always endless in the future, and self-acceptance in the present.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the phrase Saint Jake works.
yeah.
All right. Hey, VJ. Hi. We were just talking about you.
Hey, Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Yeah, definitely. There is no doubt that we are unworthy, and so that's why he has come for. I strongly believe that he has come to redeem us. Even the Mandli, they have Baba told them they have broken down furniture. So Madhusudan has said in his poetry, I was when I was worthless and nobody useless guy, but you bought us and you made us priceless. So the most important thing is that we got connected with Baba. So we are so fortunate that whatever he's the ocean, and the main thing is just trust in him and getting connected with him. And we are so fortunate that Baba has picked all of us, so that matters. And and one day definitely now we are in the queue. Arach used to say that we are all in the queue, so now we are priceless. We are connected with the Lord. That matters. Yeah. So that much I had to say.
Yeah,
Jai Baba.
beautiful, VJ. A
Yeah.
great reminder,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Let's go to Peter.
All right, hi everybody. I had been preparing for this for a while, and then I didn't know it was going to be coming up today because this is this was a confusing topic for me, and I was writing notes because I read. I'm familiar with the place and that's how it was with Ayaz. There's a place at the end of the page that says Baba finished the story by concluding, "Know once and for all, as long as you hold fast to my diamond, you are priceless. But if you let go, you have no worth, no value at all. So beware and hold on to my diamond until the very end." Now, there was a new book that came out, which I wholeheartedly recommend. It's called Worthy. It's by Jamie Kern-Lima. And in this, she has a chart which spoke volumes to me. I'm still not totally convinced, but let's just say on the left bottom to top, it talks about self-worth. And let's just, part of it is when you look at the very top of it, it means, she says, no matter what, we're worthy, period, end of story. We're all God, we're all worthy just by that fact. And then she says, if all we know is that we're worthy, we'll have this sense of peace. And then on the bottom part of the chart, going from left to right, she marks self-confidence, growth, and contribution, and saying if we add self-worth to our self-confidence, growth, and contribution, we feel fulfilled. So it's like, to me, both are true. I mean, if Baba says something, it's got to be true, but I don't know how they can both be. And to me, it was very important to see this, because I know so many people that are so highly trying to achieve, and they kill themselves trying to achieve their way to a place of self-worth, rather than using, how can I say, skill level to develop confidence and contribution. So it's been a place of confusion to me, saying, okay, uncover that we're all priceless, that there is 100% self-worth, with developing a sense of maximum contribution to feel fulfilled. And there was an aha moment thinking about people like the Mandali, where I look at the Mandali as people that having this ultimate feeling of worthiness and confidence at the same time. But I don't know where Baba's discourse is supposed to fit in with all this, saying if we don't hold on to his Dhamma, we're worthless. Because if we're all God, to me, there's this built-in inherent worthiness that we have. It just is affected by, or we may not know it based on what our thoughts are. Okay, I got the gag order. I'll pass it that. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're saying that everyone is really, because we are inherently divine, we are all worthy. But then we're talking about the feeling of being the more you contact that, the more you feel you kind of move out of unworthiness. That's kind of what you're saying?
Well, on one hand, what I think this book is saying is that no matter what, we are 100% worthy. Our mind may tell us we're not worthy.
Right, yeah.
And one thing that's an illusion, when I put a spin on Henry Ford, I think to myself, whether we think we're garbage or think we're priceless, either way, we're right. It's our thinking that makes it so. It's simply a matter of, if we think we're garbage, we will behave in a way that reflects that. It doesn't mean that we're unworthy. It just means we think we're unworthy.
Right. Good. Excellent. Yeah.
Right. So one thing I'm stuck with is where Jamie says we're all worthy, we're all 100% priceless as we stand everything in the universe, where Mayor Bob is saying, if you don't hold on to my Dhamma, your value drops. So I don't know if that's just a part of him saying that. I don't know if it's a play on words from his part, or maybe with the Mandali, in a way, their value was so high, because it's been every so often they say that the Mandali can get you anywhere in the world that you are. If they need something from you, if they're looking for you, they can find you, because they were held in such high esteem based on, I'd say, the work that they did for Baba loosely. So it's a little bit, I'm just wondering if there's a way to tie that together.
Yeah. I think we'll be up by the end of this. We'll have the answer for you. Anyone else?
But we'll try.
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Yeah.
I'll call on myself. I sometimes wonder why Baba chose me. And because I was raised with the Jews being called the chosen people, and I never understood that. So when I'm told that it's Baba's had his Nazar on me way before I did on him, I wonder why. And Terry and I were just talking about when we went to the Samadhi, that was back in 2013. And we were trying to remember if we were allowed to go inside the Samadhi or just at the beginning. And I said, well, I only remember going at the beginning, because I was on my knees and I was literally, because we were there for Terry. I was just coming to bear witness to her journey. So I was just trying to be there with the experience, I literally on my knees said to Baba, Baba, I have no idea who you are or what I'm supposed to think of you or where I fit into this, but feel free to tell me. And within 2 days, I was totally his. And it was totally by the heart. Not a thing, not my monkey mind was not part of it at all. It's not until later when I've started to question how could I be so lucky that that I don't know if he chose me or that I don't know. But it is like, why me, Lord? So I've decided to be the obedient one and say his name whenever I can. So I think I have shared with people, and I'm going to share it now, that I say Baba's name to telemarketers. And it usually ends the conversation, but I have said his name. And I feel better about myself. Jai Baba.
Diane, you say, why you? I say, why not you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's what Erich used to say all the time. You know what Marta said, who are you not to be chosen? I mean, he used to, he used to switch it around. Hey, I'm reminded of a quote here from what you said. It's called "To Be United with Him," and I think this was somewhere at Marizad that I ran into this quote. If you were to be united with Him only after the extinction of your vices and the effacement of your pretensions, you would never be united with Him. Instead, when He wants to unite you to Himself, He covers your attribute with His attribute and hides your quality with His quality. And thus He unites you to Himself by virtue of what comes from Him to you, not by virtue of what goes from you to Him. I just, what you were saying there kind of reminded
Can you
me.
repeat that last little bit again?
Uh-oh. I just,
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I'll find it. I will find it here. Oh, no.
Does anybody want to raise their hand while Jeff is looking?
Ah,
Oh, Marta.
I got it. Oh, go ahead, Marta.
I just wanted to say that I agree with Vijay that I am not worthy, but because Baba has touched me, I am something because of Baba.
Excellent. Yeah.
Hey, Diane, it's like when Baba said, when the student is ready, the master appears. So there you have it.
There you have it.
Shall I read this again?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
please.
If you were to be, just at the end, right? And thus
Nobody has their hands up. I think we have
Okay.
a bit of time here.
Okay.
The
If
whole
you were
time.
to be united with Him only after the extinction of your vices and the effacement of your pretensions, you would never be united with Him. Instead, when He wants to unite you to Himself, He covers your attribute with His attribute and hides your quality with His quality. And thus, He unites you to Himself by virtue of what comes from Him to you, not by virtue of what goes from you to Him. That's the quote.
Where does that quote come from? From Baba or?
I got the name, but it's not there. Sometime I'll get that name of that to you, the person. He was a Sufi.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it was there at somewhere at Marizad. I saw that quote. Anyone else want? Go ahead.
I'm going to jump in again because
Yeah.
I was thinking today, I went to the Mayor Center. They do a thing on discourses. And I am someone who has not been able to read any of the more intellectual Baba literature, God Speaks, the discourses. It literally is Teflon. Nothing sticks to me, but I try really hard. So I went again to listen, and my mind just goes to bat, it just turns it off. And so I start comparing that I'm not a good Baba lover because I don't, approach Baba in that aspect. And talk about feeling unworthy in the most vulnerable part of my life with my own God. So it's a tough one.
Yeah. Did you ever go to school at all? No.
Yeah, I did.
No, I mean, it's interesting. Sometimes Baba would say, the subject of God Speaks would come up, and he would say to this person, you read God Speaks 7 times, and this person, you read God Speaks 3 times. And some person say, no, you don't read God Speaks. Some people, it's helpful to them, and others, it just kind of activates their mind in a way that doesn't take them into their heart, So
Let's go to Denver.
Grand Junction, man, you better get it right.
Yeah, Grant, I'm closer to you, Diane, than I am to. Okay, but this is an interesting topic, and everybody said pretty pointed stuff on it. I like what Peter was getting to, but I've gone through this exactly as you guys have described, and it's a weird one because if your mind gets involved, it's like I feel even more detached from, oh, Baba, I'm lost, help me, grab me again, But then when I'm feeling Baba for something, whether it's in meditation or just he just sort of is present with me for some reason, or from reading maybe. But then I don't think about it at all. But I guess what I want to really say is sort of a metaphysical thinking, because that's what I mainly enjoy. But I've talked to different people, who are Christian, and they talk about Jesus, and I don't know much about Muslim faith and protocols, religion, and all that. But what has happened for me, what I think this idea first struck my head when Adi K. Irani says, I have conviction. It's not a belief, it's not faith so much, it's conviction. And that could only apply to the avatar in creation. And to me, what really profoundly makes it meaningful, like if you want to tell someone about Baba, and you could say, well, Baba's beyond the mind, which is true, or God is beyond the mind, or God alone is real, But how do you get there? How does our limitations, like Diane said, what made us each, quote unquote, worthy of this awareness of Baba? Who knows? But in the long run, a bunch of many lifetimes probably, right? But for me, it's apparent. It's so apparent. And I've said it this way: don't bother about praying to God. God doesn't know you exist. He's not aware of illusion. The only one aware of illusion who's one with God is the avatar. Only the avatar. That's it. You can go to a Sadhguru, but he doesn't know you squat. He doesn't know you anything, He's doing his own thing. The avatar is in creation. And I think that's what's so difficult for me is my mind wants to translate what I see into what Diane calls all the intellectual books, the Ward Parks Darshana. And that's fine because it's great understanding. But the experience of Baba, for me, has to be seeing a butterfly and feeling God. And it's not easy and it's not continuous, It'll happen and then it won't happen. So, yeah, but if I want to feel unworthy, all I have to do is do a simple one incarnation review of Richard Sander, and I start feeling a little unworthy right away. It doesn't take much. That's it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Amnesia.
Let's stay in Colorado with Janet.
Yeah.
Hi. So Yeah, I like Richard's one carnation review.
Yeah.
One incarnation review. Well, I had this experience on Silence Day early in the morning when I just get up and I have a picture of Baba and I say my prayers and all that. And I had some pretty intense experiences in the month of June, not home, but anyway, with family and business and all of this, of feeling no matter what I did, it was not enough and unseen. And I think you might be able to call that unworthiness. Anyway, so it was just sort of a pile happened. And when I woke up on the Silence Day and was silently beginning to say my prayers to Baba, I just heard loud and clear, you are valuable. And, to say it was Baba talking to me, I don't know, but it appeared that way to me. That's how it was to me. You are valuable. And in taking that in, I felt as if all that pile of feeling like I wasn't enough, no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. I needed to do more, feeling guilty for one thing or another. All of that melted under that statement. And I wonder if that is true, that if we really, of course there's a catch in that, that it's not like, well, I'm valuable kind of thing. It wasn't that, I hope, and I hope it continues not to be an inner statement of feeling value, just in being in and of myself, feeling value. And that I'd be interested in how other people respond to that thought for themselves. If we feel value, we feel the value that, like Baba valuing us, not as a statement, but more like what Diane is talking about as an experience, that it just is awakened within us, a sense of value. Then we no longer have to reach out for other people to value us, to feel worthy. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, beautiful. That's one of the major dynamics right there. You analyze it beautifully.
Okay, Mary.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Mary.
So this topic is gigantic for me. Not that I think it's not probably gigantic for everybody. So I'm not even going to go there. What I want to say, Jeff, is that what you wrote in the letter is so beautiful and so expressed in such lovely, meaningful, excellently written. It's excellently written. It's just touched my heart so deeply. I just want to thank you for that and just tell you how valuable your letters are. And this one in particular, I think, was written with such, and Baba really came through. Baba really wrote through you in a very beautiful way. And I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, sometimes I write these at 5 in the morning.
Well, you're very worthy.
You know. But I mean, much of it's helped because I've been here at the center for so many years, and I hear all the different problems and experiences and difficulties and challenges and breakthroughs. And so if I can just, focus on that, it tends to flow pretty well.
It flowed very beautifully. And
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome. Okay,
Tina.
that's Jay Baba.
Tina.
I'm trying to unmute. My
You're
cursor
good.
isn't cooperating. But I wanted to say to Diane that I also don't like intellectual discussions. They go over my head. I just don't understand them. And I feel bad about it, but there's nothing I can do. So I just wanted to offer you solidarity.
Yeah. We'll have a special kind of gallery for the likes of Diane and Tina. And
Same here. I'm not too intellectual either. I mean, a lot of that heavy stuff, can't really understand it, and I don't know if I'll ever will. So I agree as well.
The one thing this is just my feeling on that particular topic is that most of us have a hodgepodge of ideas that we and belief systems and everything we took on, and so they actually interfere with the flow of the heart. So I think of Bob's writings are like a chiropractic adjustment, to take all or a Dewey Decimal System for all these cockamamie ideas that we've bought into, straighten that out so that we can drop into the heart and just let the heart flow. But as long as we're getting tripped up at the mental level with a lot of false beliefs that we bought into, it needs to be kind of cleared up. That's my feeling. And I know when I read God Speaks, it in the tomb. Back then, you could actually read a whole book in the tomb, but it was like it basically. I was no longer looking at anything through my mind after reading that book. I had to look through the heart and find my way. It just somehow it basically showed me in absorbing that's not where you're going to find, that's not where you're going to get the guidance to live your life through the mind. So it was valuable and a most invaluable book I've read, and it's not my kind of reading, so I haven't read it
God
since.
Speaks.
What's that?
Talking God Speaks.
God Speaks, yeah. But like I say, anyway, we got some more hands up there.
Peter, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Where you been?
Oh, there we go. Okay, sometimes I think my iPad just doesn't want to work. I was in a conversation with an angel from Pune, and one thing she made me aware of, or she said, I'm someone that, the Baba lovers, I think it's in Mahabaleshwar, she said were very, very poor, never read a book about Baba. They didn't have money, illiterate, and they put together the most extravagant gala celebrations for him. I'm not sure that I have the town correctly, but oftentimes I would think that the stereotypical Baba lover does X, Y, and Z. And then when I remember stories like this, I remember to say, no. Not everybody reads God Speaks. Not everyone reads Lord Mayhare. Not everybody has to. And then I remember what she told me about, is that right, Mahabaleshwar, where the Baba lovers were like dirt poor, but
that's Hamirpur.
Hamirpur, okay.
Yeah.
Hamirpur. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'll take the word for it. That
Yeah.
they were dirt poor, but Baba said his heart was in Hamirpur because despite them being so poor and apparently little means, they still put together the most radiant celebrations for him.
Oh,
after
yeah.
not having ever read a word. Yes.
Yeah. All heart. Yeah.
So let's go to Richard.
Mine is really short. Go here. I haven't seen you for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear
I
your
did.
voice.
I was out on vacation, Richard. We were out for 2 weeks with family. We were celebrating 50 years of our union. So
Beautiful.
thank
Yeah,
you.
your absence was conspicuous.
Oh, thank you. I missed you folks too. I truly did. But we just got back late last Sunday, so
Wow.
still
Yeah.
catching up on jet lag.
Yeah,
But
beautiful.
yeah, but thank you.
Yeah. Looks like Tony.
Okay, wish me luck, guys, because Elena wants to speak, but she doesn't have words, so she might shout over me.
Yeah.
Every night, pretty much after dinner, Zeke and Elena and I take some quiet time. We read from A Course in Miracles lesson, a little bit from the text. We've been reading a bit from the Harry book lately, and then we take some 10, 15 minutes of quiet time with Baba. And the text from the Course in Miracles today happened to be about feeling unworthy. And so I've been like juggling, should I share it, should I not share? It uses special language, you know, like it talks about holiness, but it's the idea of feeling worthy with Baba, and that you don't have to, rather than having to do a lot to prepare yourself to feel worthy, to feel holy, to feel in tune with Baba in the eternal now, you have to do less. All that Baba asks, according to this, is your willingness. So I'll read a little bit. I hope I can just select. It says, the holy instant, the eternal now, is the result of your determination to be holy. It is the answer. The desire and the willingness to let it come precede its coming. You prepare your mind for it only to the extent of recognizing that you want it above all else. It is not necessary that you do more. Indeed, it is necessary that you realize that you cannot do more. Do not, now it says Holy Spirit, that's Baba in you. Do not attempt to give the Holy Spirit what he does not ask, or you will add ego to him and confuse the two. He asks but little. It is he who adds the greatness and the might, the sense of self-worth. He joins with you to make the holy instant far greater than you can understand. Trust not your good intentions, they are not enough, but trust implicitly your willingness, whatever else may enter. Humility will never ask that you remain content with littleness, but it does require that you be not content with less than the greatness that comes not from you, that comes from Baba.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Your difficulty with the holy instant arises from your fixed conviction that you are not worthy of it. And what is this but the determination that you would need to make yourself worthy? God did not create his dwelling place unworthy of him. And if you believe he cannot enter where he wills to be, you must be interfering with his will. The holy instant does not come from your little willingness alone. It is always the result of your small willingness combined with the unlimited power of God's will. Your willingness is needed only to make it possible to allow Baba to teach you what you are. So I hope that was, it's different language than we usually use.
Yeah.
But the idea that we have to do more is just struggling with the ego. And the idea of saying, I'm willing to give this to you, Baba. I'm willing to let you sort this out. I'm willing to take it all.
Tony, can I say hello? Can I say hello to Elena?
Yes, you can. She's here.
All right. Elena.
She wants to say hello.
Hello, Elena. Hello.
She hears you.
Nice to see you, Elena. Nice to see you. I love your hair. Remember, I love your hair. Yeah, it's nice. Thank you, Elena. Thank you.
We love your hair too, Rich.
That's right.
Mr. Wolverton, I see you have your hand.
Okay. Yeah, I thought, well, as you know, I mean, I've mentioned over the years that I always did everything in extremes when I got into Baba. So even though I knew that Baba was, had no doubt that Baba was God, and that, you know, I was to live for him, I thought, well, I got to do it all. I got to become what he wants me to be. So I tackled, you know, lust, greed, anger, you know, jealousy, dishonesty, impatience, and everything. I tried to do all of those things at one time. And boy, I went from being kind of like spontaneous and lively and everything to somebody was like in a straitjacket. And I was always falling short. And but from Baba, I always felt, I think he was horrified. He was horrified with what I was doing to myself. I always felt from Baba, and I have always felt from Baba, you know, like a most loving mother, you know, never, always compassionate and empathetic. And so when I would beat myself up when I was young, trying to live this life and failing at it, Baba would just say, Jeff, just relax, you know, take your time. It's like, don't, you know, he was like pleading with me to be gentler on myself. And but there was one thing that was a real turning point in my life. I was in Vancouver, British Columbia, where my folks lived. And I was in a park sharing with somebody the most humiliating, horrible period of my life. In college, I completely, I really did badly, just because I just wasn't really with it, and I lost my scholarship. And this was like one of the most expensive colleges in the country, and I was just tortured. I was sharing this with this person, and I was just so tortured. And I mean, the humiliation was just kind of contradicted everything I stood for. And so I'm there all, you know, very distraught. And my mom and dad, I can see them in a distance. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, I'll never be able to compose myself by the time they get here. But my dad said, well, he calls over from a distance, you know, do you want to play Frisbee? So I used that opportunity to dash off to the house and get to Frisbee and try to kind of get myself together. And the Frisbee was behind the clothes hamper in the bathroom. And so I went in to get it, and I looked at my face, and I saw how tortured I was. And I saw no one should ever have to feel that way. I mean, I saw what I'd done to myself, and I actually felt, don't ever do that. I felt compassion for myself. And so that was the beginning of, having compassion for myself. Baba was giving me compassion, but my part of it was also I had to do my part of having compassion for myself and empathy. So that started me on a whole different trajectory in my life with Baba. But I did feel, unworthy, but after a while, I was able to see what I was really capable of doing and what I was not capable of doing, and move kind of, like I say, small step by small step, and kind of, and kind of got I guess, yeah, I mean, a lot of my negativity and my shortcomings got sublimated into my better angels over time. But anyway, that was my little sojourn into unworthiness.
Do you have any like how-tos, how you dug yourself up to at least sea level?
um, I mean, the greatest value that that I got that that I got from was from Darwin. Give those imperfections, give your hang-ups, your lust, your greed, your anger to Baba, and persistently go on giving that. I don't mean just like, well, here's my worries, Baba. No, to feel them deeply and profoundly, and watch them and give them energetically to Baba wherever you place them, either within you or before you. And that cleared out. I became very more proactive about giving my weaknesses to Baba, and that's the fastest way rather than trying to work them out psychologically myself. That was immensely helpful. And then what Darwin would say, as you empty out your heart of all these strangers, he can begin to live in you. So you create that inner space where you have Baba's with you all the time. He's not over there somewhere looking down at you or whatever. He's right there with you as you live your life. So the weaknesses turned out to be blessings because it got me to empty out myself, things that didn't align with the love within me. So I don't know if that answers the question. Wherever Diane is, I don't even know where she is. Oh, there she is, upper right-hand corner. But it gets better and better, as I'm sure most of you have found out. Baba eventually takes over more and more your life, and you're not struggling so much with all of the minutia, all the stuff. I should say this, and that, if you're a parent, growing up, I felt loved by both my mom and my dad. And so I went off to college. I knew I was lovable. Not that I was anything great, but I didn't have to worry about being lovable or, And I went to college in New York City, and I'd say 9/10 of the people they grew up in a childhood and they didn't feel loved. So they're having to try to get some self-esteem, whereas I already had the self-esteem from having been loved by my parents. So, and Jake, I look over at Jake, his kids are so loved. They're going to enter the world without having to discover whether they're lovable or not. That's given to them. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you want to see some happy kids. When they hit the center, they are joyous. Yeah. Anyone else? We got Dan Sparks there from Oklahoma. I'm not saying that you have to say anything, but nice to see.
Thanks, Jeff. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else want to venture out?
Jeff, isn't there something about doesn't Bob there's a quote, but I don't know where to find it. Isn't there something that Bob says about he doesn't want his lovers to be small, he wants them to be as big as possible or something like that? I don't know the quote. Do you know the quote?
Exactly. I'll try to find that quote.
It's so perfect for this, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try to find it.
Go ahead. Did I cut you off? Go ahead. Did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, okay. Well, my experience with unworthiness started real young and right in front of Baba, believe it or not. So here I was, 8 years old, and sitting in front of Baba. And I'm all wrapped up in, just looking at him. And there was this very intense feeling within me, or, being in his presence. And then the thought comes into my head, oh my God, I hope Baba doesn't ask me to say the Master's Prayer. Now, at this point, I'm thinking of all the children all the older kids that I know that knew how to recite the prayer by heart. I didn't. I could read it, but I couldn't recite it by heart. And the fear, and I was like, oh, I hope Baba doesn't ask me to stand up and say the Master's Prayer. What will I do? And that feeling of unworthiness in that moment literally spurred me later on to learn that prayer, lickety split after that. So I just remember that one little episode that I had, that moment in right in front of Baba. So that's where initially my feelings of unworthiness, if you will, came into my head. And then, of course, being shy by nature and all that, and then having all the experiences growing up, it would surface from time to time. Yes, very much so. But in time, as Jeff says, Baba comes more and more into your life, and you end up giving it to him, and that's the only way to get over that. So, I mean, if you feel unworthy, it is a very diminishing feeling. You feel very depleted, if you will. And there's nothing to be gained by it. It's a very negative emotion to have. And to dwell on it and to continue, feeling that way doesn't get you anywhere. So you have a choice. And the choice is, of course, to just give it to Baba. And the minute you do that, he takes over, he guides you as to how to get out of that feeling, get out of that quagmire, if you will, and move on, move forward. And that's how you overcome unworthiness. Just give it to him. That's it. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Beautiful.
And go here. I have to echo what Richard said. I missed you too.
Oh, thank you very much. No, we were out with family. Actually, this started last year when the kids realized, we were coming up to this landmark in our lives. And so they asked me asked us what we would like to do. And I said, well, my first choice is to take all of you and go to India. But that didn't happen. It didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be, because the Indian government will not give us ex-Pakistanis visas to go to India. So that has been so for the last 20 years or so, very sadly. So, and then my next choice was, well, all right, if not India, then let's do Italy. So that's where we went. We went to Italy for 2 weeks with 3 children and their spouses. And I saw that my goal was to go visit the Villa Alta Chiara, where Baba went in 1933 and spent a whole month with his disciples. So we did manage to see it, but we only could view it from the sea. We were on a ferry boat, and we could see the Villa Alta Chiara very clearly, took pictures of it and all that. And then the next day when we actually went into Portofino, we tried ever so hard to get to it physically, just to be there, my goal was just to, that picture of Baba walking down the steps in Portofino. That is my ultimate dream. I mean, I just wanted to stand there and visualize that moment.
Know who has a picture like that? Mayor Prasad did that.
Yes, I thought because he mentioned a little while ago that he had actually gone there and been,
you cannot now
access the grounds, but try as hard as we tried, it is just not possible now, because actually the villa has been confiscated by the EU because it's owned by a Russian oligarch. And because of all the political strife between Russia and the EU, they have confiscated that property, and there's absolutely no access to it. I even found out that there's an elevator that goes from the harbor right up to the street level where that house is. And we actually saw a janitor person come out. We tried every which way. We spent half a day trying, but it was not. So the tunnel and the elevator and all of that is monitored very, very strictly with cameras and all that. So if you're not authorized, you cannot enter that tunnel and access that elevator. So I was like, Baba, so near and yet so far. Why? But he knows best. So that was.
Jake, you got your hand up.
Three, missing you, the times when you weren't here. Absolutely. It hasn't been the same.
Thank you. Missed you too. Missed all of you. And thought of you too while I was there. So yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think what, Jake?
So kind of back to what I shared in the beginning about how I felt like I need to be saintly in order to be close to Baba, and that's marked a big part of my initial journey with Baba in this life. And coming to this place now where I'm relaxing more and becoming more accepting of the parts of myself that aren't so saintly, and but doing it from a place of self-acceptance as opposed to more, like Jeff said, self-improvement. But the thing that makes me very uneasy is that I've spent so much time working at not acting on my lower self. And here in relaxing, my guard against my lower self, I guess, and therefore bringing it closer into me and having more of a relationship with it, I then also relax the guard against taking actions with my lower self. So, for example, like yelling at my children might be a good example where, I might be more relaxed to express my anger at my children as opposed to reserve my anger, trying to be more saintly. And so I'm really there's a certain layer of me that feels uncomfortable with this, and I'm just curious if anybody has any advice or any wisdom of how self-acceptance or being more comfortable with your lower self through self-acceptance, but yet at the same time not losing yourself to indulgence, or you do lose yourself, but then you have self-acceptance for that. But then what do you do about the part that then causes harm to other people? Like I really struggle with that layer of more relaxed with my lower self. My guard is down, so I may express my lower self more. And then what about the harm that it might cause other people? And then how do I work with that? So anyway, if anybody has any advice, I would love to hear it.
One thing that comes to mind is self-acceptance and self-compassion softens your whole nature. So everything will be softened and won't be so sharp. So your anger won't be quite as sharp. Your greed won't be quite as grasping. Bobby, the most frequent quote from Erich that I heard over the years, quoting Baba, was, "To be natural is most godly. Not to be perfect is most godly. Not to be spiritual is most godly. Not to be religious is most godly. To be natural is most godly." Now that's a journey in itself. What is it to be? What is the natural Jake? It's heart natural. It's not. I wouldn't say it's desire natural. It's heart natural, but there's going to be a little bit of there's going to be a bit of grit in there as well. But it's a different approach to be natural. There was this one philosopher, Chung Tzu. I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said, but when your shoe fits and is comfortable, you don't have to think about your feet all day. And when you kind of get the right attitude toward yourself, you don't have to think about yourself all day. It just kind of happens naturally. You find your natural sense of self. Anyway, I don't know if that.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, I like the analogy with if the shoe fits and you're comfortable with it, you're not thinking about it all the time. Applying that to myself.
Yeah.
I'm not always having to think about myself and what I'm doing and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, like kids. They're not going around thinking about themselves. They're just going around living. But there are some hands up there. I don't know if they're.
We'll go to Tony.
Hi. So I put a couple of notes because this is more of what's, for me, meaningful with this. I find that when I'm tired, drained, or especially these last few days that we're living up in the Catskills, heat struck and drained from the heat, and life still is making demands, I kind of find it very difficult to ask Baba what he wants of me in a particular situation. And I may feel like, for instance, someone was taking us out to a wonderful place, and I really wanted to accommodate and acknowledge this very nice thing she was doing for us, but the heat was so exhausting that I couldn't. I didn't know, Baba, do I do this thing or just say no, I can't do it? And normally I wouldn't have a problem with that, but if I'm so drained or tired, also if I do or say, this is topical for today, if I do or say something unworthy, like I had a communication from an old friend who maybe lost his way a little bit in some respects, but in any event, it was a harsh communication from him, and I tried to answer it lovingly and truthfully as well. And then I got an even more assaultive response, and at like midnight, I sent him a really harsh note. And my sleep was just twisted for 4 hours until I found he hadn't read it and I could unsend it, you know?
Oh, good.
But so like there's where, I don't know if it's unworthiness. I feel like my connection with Baba, I'm like losing my connection to the sound of what I need to hear, of what Baba wants. Even just now, with Elena here, I've often said she reminds me of Kenmore, and there is one aspect of that sometimes comes up, but it did right now, where her energy is so enormous that you couldn't possibly think of anything else. So I prepared to talk to you all here, and suddenly she was, and it's all love. It is all love pouring out of this kid. But it was like I couldn't think of what I was thinking. I could connect with. And so at moments like that, I don't know if it's unworthiness. It feels more like, I guess, incapacity.
Yeah.
Now, incapable of being worthy of living up to the moment. And if I do that, and if I catch myself, like I said, when I wrote that note to this friend, it was harsh and it could have hurt him. And I finally was able to send a note that he may not accept, but could either help or be ignored. So those moments where I'm not faithful to what I know I need to be because of the circumstance, either my ego gets triggered or my body is drained, you know. So that's
yeah,
tough for me sometimes.
Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah. Just to let I did find that quote, but we'll end with that after Marion. Yeah, Marion, I think you're muted.
Okay. Hi.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure I was going to share. I didn't feel withholding. I just felt there were so many decades I've lived through. I'm probably the oldest one on this call. And so I did different tools at different times of my life. But I think, Jake, you prompted me to kind of say something, not to give you advice. I will never give you advice. I will share something because I find at different times, you know, when I was a mother of young children, then grandmother, and now I'm, you know, even beyond that. So I have different tools that I use at different times in my life. So I think, so I'll just share something lightly. And that is, I've learned that my lower, at my core, because Baba teaches this, at our core, we're all God realized. We're all perfect at our core. Then we got this human self, and so so I separate out the two. I do some psychodrama, because they start melting together and I start acting it out in my unworthiness, and it's not always a thought. It's sometimes a shift in my energy field. It'll be like slumped shoulders or something like that. And so what I've learned to do for me, that's why I won't give you advice, is that I separate out the two and do a little psychodrama. So I have Marion, the human Marion, who is usually kind of very very obstinate. And I call her mean, nasty Marion. And because she gets very scared about any kind of expansion. Whereas in my higher self, I'm expanding all the time with the universe infinitely. Nothing can stop me. There's nothing negative in my higher self. I'm expanding. But this little human Marion, she's saying, no, I'm not going to go there. You can't make me. And I'll do everything to pull you back to stay in this, I call it the hard knock third dimensional life. And so what I've learned over the years with a lot of help, a lot of training, is to take her hand. So I separate out the two. And I actually do. I put my hand over and say, is there something that we could do together that you will feel safe and yet could be a little bit of an adventure for you? So my empathy toward her has arisen rather than denying her. So when I say her, it's because I've separated out these aspects of myself. And then she'll say something, well, all of a sudden she's a little bit more compliant. Well, that new coffee shop opened up that has those coconut milk lattes. I've wanted one of those. And say, so, okay, we'll figure out a time to go do that together. Then the light bulb goes off. She has been an avenue for one of my real needs. And that is to take a little time off from all the things I have to do to maintain myself here on this planet and go have that cup of coconut milk latte. And so I'm not let her take over, but I've listened to her, because every lower self quality has a divine aspect. Lust, greed, pride, anger, judgmentalness, mean, nasty, all of that, each quality has a divine aspect. So we don't want to miss that divine aspect, because it's through the lower self that we go to a higher level of, and more expanded state of the higher self. So that's how I'm saying with mine, I've gotten to be, loving her and be empathic toward her, but don't let her run the show, because she can be just so mean and nasty. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a beautiful dynamic.
Yeah, I appreciate what you shared. I understand what you're, I understand where you're coming from with that, and I do some of that type of work myself, have done it and continue to do it. So thank you.
Wonderful. You're on the right track. You're on the right track. Yeah.
So here's what. Oh no, I hope I didn't. I've got. Oh, I had it synced in. The quote that Marta was talking about. Oh man, I'll have it for you, and then I'll read this, and we'll have a few moments of silence. Oh.
While you're looking for that, Gabrielle.
Yeah, I'll just say a very quick thing. I love
go ahead. Yeah.
Great conversation, and it was great to be together. When my self-worth is low, when somebody is mean to me or says I've done something bad, then I take that on as bad. And when my self-worth is low, if somebody says something good to me or invites me and loves me, I can't take it in, right? I mean, so it doesn't matter what's going on outside me. It's completely an inside game. And I just remembered this quote. I don't remember where it's from, but it was just like, because whenever over the years with Baba, and I've had some very low points, he always gave me so much love, and often through his mandali. And I always, I was amazed, at how much, time and trouble they took for me. And, it made me feel, it really built my sense of worthiness. but for me, because they were just, they were, the appendages of his body, really. I mean, it was Baba who was taking that time and trouble for me. And I remembered this quote that when you're feeling down, or, what I need was constant occasions of his company. That builds my self-worth.
Beautiful. Yeah. That is so true. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to read that quote. I don't know if Marta, if we can get her back on among the living here, but this is the quote. This might have been the quote that she was referring to. Someone asked, these are Baba's words. Someone asked Hafiz what spirituality meant, and he answered in one ode: unless you go against your lower self, you cannot unite with your higher self. Baba said, now, what is the lower self? That which makes you think you are small. That which makes you feel you are not satisfied, happy. That which makes others see you as small. So this meaning of going against the lower self is to transform this in quite the opposite direction. Be that which makes you look big and makes others see you as big. Remain pleased and contented, happy and satisfied. When you are displeased, unhappy, or upset and moody, it is your lower self asserting itself. People always put the blame for their dissatisfaction and suffering on others. But the fact is, when one suffers, it is one's own fault. Mansari, who was one of the women Mandali, became excited. She was angry and suffered, and she laid it all on Elizabeth, Norina, and Lucky. Lucky was the monkey, who was always getting into mischief. But if she had gone beyond the lower self, she would have taken it calmly, swallowed it, and remained unaffected. If you are firm, nothing will upset you. If you try, you will surely achieve it. I do not want any repression, but I do want transformation. I never for one moment say that you must not get angry. Don't be confused. You must get angry when the occasion arises, but at once you must get it out of your head. If you are not hungry, fasting has no meaning. So that's the quote. The lower self is that which makes you feel small and others see you as small. Okay,
Where is that quote, Jeff? Is that from Lord Maher?
It's from Mehra Meher.
Mehra Meher. Which volume?
Yeah.
You have a page?
Volume 2, page 87.
Hey, Jeff, can you repeat that quote, please?
The whole thing?
If you don't mind.
Or yeah,
because
because we got Martha back. We got Martha back anyway. This may be the quote that one of the quotes you were asking for. Someone asked Hafiz what spirituality meant, and he answered in one ode: unless you go against your lower self, you cannot unite with your higher self. Baba said, now what is the lower self? That which makes you think you are small. That which makes you feel that you are not satisfied, happy. That which makes others see you as small. So this meaning of going against the lower self is to transform this in quite the opposite direction. Be that which makes you look big and makes others see you as big. Remain pleased and contented, happy and satisfied. When you are displeased, unhappy, or upset and moody, it is your lower self asserting itself. People always put the blame for their dissatisfaction and suffering on others. But the fact is, when one suffers, it is one's own fault. Mansari became excited. She was angry and suffered, and she laid it all on Elizabeth, Norina, and Lucky, who was that mischievous monkey. But if she had gone beyond the lower self, she would have taken it calmly, swallowed it, and remained unaffected. If you are firm, nothing will upset you. If you try, you will surely achieve it. I do not want any repression, but I do want transformation. I never for one moment say that you must not get angry. Don't be confused. You must get angry when the occasion arises, but at once you must get it out of your head. If you are not hungry, fasting has no meaning.
Perfect. Thank you. You're amazing, Jeff.
Yeah, no, that came from Laura Smith. She sends me these quotes.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
perfect. That was the one exactly. Thank
Yeah,
you.
oh, good. Okay, let's have a few moments of silence and before we go on. Jai Baba. Thank you all for chiming in on this. Someone from England sent a topic which is about grief and loss. I might try to write something up about that. And where, as we get older here, we're having to say goodbye to some very, very dear friends. And so grief is, you know, is part of our shared experience for sure. I like that one quote that there's Wendy from up there in Canada when she was working with hospice, and the saying with the hospice was, "Grief is love that has no place to go." You know, the object of that love is gone. You know, but well, hopefully we'll talk about that.
Yeah, can you repeat that first part again? Grief is love with nowhere to go.
Grief is love that has no place to go. It's stalled, and it gets backed up into you, so to speak.
Makes some sense.
It needs a place to flow, and luckily we have Baba, so that can flow to Baba, and then we also know that nobody really dies; they're still here, so that love can still flow. And it's not like out of sight, out of mind. They're still here with us. They're wondering why we don't notice them anymore. So, I hope Sabine and Johannes, you know, are still awake. I guess you're going to go back to sleep now.
Yeah, we will a minute.
Yeah, we are back from Fallen Flu.
Oh, Fallen Flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 12th.
A group of you, or?
Yeah, we were 14.
14.
2 from the States, 6 from Switzerland, 4 from Germany,
1 from
2 from
Kuwait.
Slovenia. So it was wonderful. It was such a gift
Yeah.
because, you know, we always on our own here with Baba, and it's such a gift to share with other Baba lovers. So we had a wonderful day. 2 days
Beautiful.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfred and Marion Saunders took me once from a Don Stevens gathering in Hungary to Fallenfleur, and it is a lovely place to visit. Baba's energy is still so strong.
Yeah.
There.
It's so palpable. Yeah, I agree.
What are you guys saying, and when did Baba go there? Flooded, what's the place?
On the 12th of July 1932. It was the 90th
34.
anniversary. No, 32, I think you went. No, for 34, you're right, yeah.
Called Fallen Flu, FALLENFLUH.
In Switzerland. And Baba had a meeting with the spiritual hierarchy to map out like the next 2,000 years, and stood in this shaft of light with thunder and lightning coming down all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you all went there together?
Yeah.
Yes, a group of Baba lovers has been doing that for many, many years, and for the first time we managed to join them, so it was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
What was that on Silence Day? Or the
No, 2 days later.
No, last Friday.
Yeah. Did you take any pictures of it?
Yeah.
Yes, we did lots.
Oh, well, it'd be nice if you could show us sometime, just people can see what it looks like.
Are there still lots of cows in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Well, all around, on the Flur itself, it would be too steep for cows. It's surrounded by woodland, that high cliff. But you hear the bells in the distance, and when you sort of walk towards it, they, banging their bells everywhere.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I will try to figure something out, Jeff, with pictures, because others took pictures, I took pictures. We find a way
Yeah.
to
share.
share somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, if it would be nice because I've seen, just those distant pictures of it, but I don't know what it looks like up close.
Were you new Bubba friends or old Bubba friends?
All Baba friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. From Europe.
If you have Purdam's God-man, I believe that meeting on Fallen Fleur is mentioned.
Who did he meet with?
With the spiritual hierarchy, but they were all like, invisible. It wasn't on the inner planes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wonderful. All of you, thank you. And we'll see what we come up with. Then some of us are going to go out to LA. Goer's going to be out there. I'm going to be out there. I don't know if I told. I will see you at Mayermount.
Oh, how wonderful.
Baba willing. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
us too.
I'm excited. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? We're excited.
And Marta will be there for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Talking about pictures, Jeff, here's one I can share for Altakia. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but
Hold on for a second.
Oh, that's the necklace or
That's a good shot, though.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
taken from the sea,
Perfect,
from where
right?
you were passing.
You have to share that with us, Goer.
Yes, I will. Sure.
You know that Alta Sierra, the architect, the person who designed that,
Yes.
was the one in what
Lord
was that?
Carnarvon.
Huh?
He was Lord Carnarvon.
Yeah, and he was the one who was in that English film
Yes, Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
Yes.
Lord Grantham or whatever it was.
Yes, yes.
He was the one who actually designed that.
Right. This was his summer house. This was his summer residence. And
Yeah.
he built the name Alta Chiara is the translation of Highclere Castle in England, which was his home in England, which is where Downton Abbey was filmed. So Alta Chiara was his summer residence, right?
And Julian Fellows, I guess the director.
Yeah.
He's the through marriage. There's a woman named. Oh my God. Let's see.
Not you too.
She's the through marriage related to a long time Baba lover. Oh my God.
Oh, I hate that.
Baba, help Jeff.
Anyway, so there's even a link in the present.
Oh, I would love to hear. Yeah, I would love to hear who that was.
Yeah, golly, I can see her perfectly.
Was it Margaret, Delia, any of those English ones?
No, it was. She kind of helped typeset the book Meher Baba's New Life. She was, she's from New York, and then also from L.A. Anyway.
Clint Eastwood.
Jean, was it Jean? Jean?
No.
No.
No, it wasn't. God, I can see her perfectly. Well, golly. Anyway.
You'll think of it.
I got too many things on my
on
Rolodex
your
here, I
brain.
think. Yeah. Anyway, much love and have a good week.
Thank you, Jeff.
And
I'll miss not seeing you in California, but Zeke and I on Thursday, God willing, will be seeing Tuck and Patty here in New York.
oh, okay. Wow. And I hope I'll try to figure out. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, so what to do during that.
What's
I'll
going
try to
on
come up with something, and I may have to ask one of you to be the host. Well, or yeah, because actually even Terry and Diane won't be around.
And
So
Gopher will be in LA. I mean, in
yeah,
Maynard.
yeah. So we'll try to find somebody. I don't know if there's anybody
Not
that
the usual suspects.
that can facilitate or moderate
Or take 2 weeks off.
or take 2 weeks off. Should we take 2 weeks off? You
That's
got,
true, yeah. We could do that.
Yeah, take a
Yep.
break.
It's
okay,
summer.
we could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we can come back and have a discussion. The topic could be what to do when you don't have late night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You guys
It's
can.
all about grief.
Yeah.
Marymount doesn't have internet connection.
Don't know.
Not gonna work.
Yeah. Anyway, much love and see you guys.
Jay
We'll see-
Baba.
Jay Baba.
Thank you,
Jay
Jay.
Baba.
Jay Baba.
Anyway, I guess
Baba.
yeah, Jay Baba.